What's up, people? It's your boy Shane G. We are back once again with another episode of Politics as Usual right here on the Ethos Media Network. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Just make sure you share this video with your people. We're trying to waking people up over here. That's the whole goal of the show, is to help you read between the lines, help you see things that they're trying to hide from you and things that they hide in plain sight a lot of the times. Sometimes that can sound a little conspiratorial, but I think we do a good job here to try to show you guys, where we're getting, our ideas from and, why we think certain things. So with that being said, what I want to do with you guys today is go through an article that I read recently from Gizmodo. It's more Russian fear mongering. And then there's one sentence that tells you everything you need to know. Again, it's at the very end of the article. So we're going to go through it. Y'all ready? Let's go. Let me get set up here. We're going to do this slightly different than we normally do. I a lot of times I'm able to, I'll have the slides pulled up and everything. But we're going to try something a little different today. All right. There we go. This is from Gizmodo. Russian code found in thousands of American apps, including the CDC's. Why is a Russian company that supplied code to thousands of apps on both Google Play and the Apple App Store pretending to be American? This is by Lucas Ropek. Let's read, shall we? A software company whose code is used in thousands of widely downloaded apps has been pretending to be based in the US when in reality it operates out of Russia, new reporting from Reuters shows. The company, Pushwoosh, used fake street addresses and even fake employee profiles on LinkedIn to create the illusion that it was headquartered in the United States, according to the recent investigation, but the firm is actually located in a city in Siberia. Reuters reports that in both regulatory findings and on social media, Pushwoosh has consistently advertised itself as being based in the U.S. The firm provides contract support and software to a broad array of organizations, including international companies, influential nonprofits, and government agencies, the outlet reports. Pushwoosh's code is currently used in at least 8,000 different apps currently available on Google Play and the Apple Store. The company's clients have even included the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, aka the CDC, which until recently used its code in at least 7 different public-facing apps. The U.S. Army also contracted with the company. Okay. However, the Reuters report seems to reveal that the company has been misrepresenting itself. For one thing, the company made separate filings with both the U.S. and Russian governments that provide conflicting information. In its filing with the state of Delaware, where Pushwoosh is registered, the company listed addresses in Washington, D.C., California, and Maryland, and never characterized itself as a Russian company. However, when it made similar filings in the Russian government, it stated that it was based in the Siberian city of Novosibirsk, which is located in southern Russia. Okay? So this is all sounding suspect so far, right? Let's keep going. Meanwhile, in its marketing materials on its website, the company also listed a number of physical addresses based in the U.S. that Reuters says aren't actually connected to the company. Reporters traveled to one of the addresses and found that it was the residence of a friend of Konev's, who is the guy who runs the company. The friend told the reporters that he has nothing to do with Pushwoosh and only agreed to allow Konev to use his address to receive mail. Okay, so there's a connection there. That's why that address is listed, because he receives mail there on behalf of the business. Cool, that makes sense. The other address, which was said to be the firm's principal place of business from 2014 to 2016, was for a residence in a California Bay Area town that local officials say doesn't actually exist. So either they just made up the address, or in all likelihood, from my reading of the situation, they maybe mistyped the address, miskeyed the address. These things happen. I'm going through it at my job right now. Well, I'm not personally going through it, but at my new job that I just started recently, friend of mine who also started the same job with me recently, who I've known for years, So he's actually my friend, but a friend of mine, he accidentally miskeyed his address when he was entering in for his HR information. That happens. So, let's just continue. Matter of fact, the address that they gave us to show up on the first day of work doesn't exist. They gave us an address that was 84 number, but the actual address is 83 number. So we were literally driving in circles in the parking lot trying to find this building because guess what? The address didn't exist. Do we think that our boss purposely gave us the wrong address and was trying to, you see what I'm saying? These things happen. It looks like a mistake. At the same time, the company created a raft of social media profiles for United States-based executives that are also fictional, Reuters reports. Both the CDC and the Army ditched the company's code after learning that Pushwish's Russian origins. Now, here's my thing. We haven't been cool with Russia for a really long time. It didn't just start with the Donald Trump thing. So, and as much intelligence and all of that kind of stuff that we have, in the United States government, you're telling me that it took Reuters to report, hey, this company is actually Russian before the Army and the CDC knew? Or is it more likely that they knew, they didn't care, but then when all the backlash started coming because of this Reuters report, they realized, oh, we got to back out of this? Which one do you think is more likely? I'll leave that up to you. From a cybersecurity perspective, the obvious concern here is that this company isn't what it seems, and that data collected by it could have been misused or shared with the Russian government. Right here. All of that scaremongering that they just built you to, this is the sentence right here that lets you know. To be clear, though, Reuters reports that there isn't any evidence that Pushwish did either of those things. That said, it isn't without precedent for Russian law enforcement to force Russian companies to furnish user data to the government. Now, let's stop there. Let's stop there for a second. We'll come back. If you guys want to, we can come back. But let's just stop there for a second. Now, are we trying to say that the US government doesn't do this with companies? We just saw on video very recently that all of the tech people regularly meet with the United States government when it comes to regulating what is allowed to be shared on social media, what is allowed to be said on social media. They said they meet with them semi-regularly. That was their words. We see Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook having to go and sit in front of the floor of Congress. We've seen the Google CEO during the last presidential race when, he was questioned because they were like, yo, how much Russian advertising is being purchased from the Google platforms? The number was only like $4,000. It was very small. But to pretend like these giant companies and the government aren't working together in the United States is just utterly ridiculous. If you know anything about campaign financing, how that all goes, I've covered that in older episodes. So go back and watch those if you don't really know how it works. The very last episode is an example of how it works, with Ro Khanna changing his position on funding Ukrainian Nazis. So the point is, they're trying to do this and they're trying to say this as if it's unique to Russia for the government to try to influence business. That's number one. Number two, it says in the article, there is no evidence of any of the stuff that we're even suggesting might happen. There's no evidence that any of it has happened yet. So they're just putting this idea in your head that, oh, this company is affiliated with Russia, so that means they're evil automatically. That's what that is. That's the whole point of this article. Because why would you have to include that line? To be clear, there's actually not any evidence that any of the shit we said happened is actually happening. Like, why would you have to say that if it was on the up and up? You get what I'm saying? Like, if everything that you're implying in the article was true, you wouldn't have to throw that. Well, just to be clear, though, there's no actual evidence of what we're saying. Right? Let's continue. The company's founder, Max Konov, has disavowed any suspicions of malfeasance, telling Reuters, so he directly responded to Reuters. Responding to Reuters, hold on, what happened to the, okay, there we go. I don't know, why am I not? It's not showing up, hold up. How about we do this, and then I'll pull it back up. How about that? Yeah, stop sharing. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna bring it back. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. All right. The company's founder, Max Konov, has disavowed any suspicions of malfeasance, telling Reuters that Pushwush has no connection with the Russian government of any kind, and that he has not tried to hide his company's origins. I am proud to be Russian and would never hide this, he said. He has also explained away the fake LinkedIn profiles claiming that they were created by a marketing agency in 2018 to use social media to sell Pushwush, not to mask the company's origins. It all sounds pretty weird, but Gizmodo reached out to Pushwush for more information and will update the story if the company responds. So there you go. He has an explanation. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. Because just I don't trust oligarchs or high-level business people really in general. So was there possibly some shady stuff he was doing or planned on doing? Maybe. But there's no evidence of it yet. So the point of this is, like I said, the point of this article appears to me to just continue fear mongering that Russians are evil, Russians are trying to infiltrate the United States government and all of this stuff. But like we wouldn't say that if it was really probably a country from or a company from anywhere else in the world, really. Like we wouldn't demonize them just based on the fact that they're affiliated with a country that we're allegedly beefing with. Like we're really, you know what I mean? Remember when Obama said that the 1980s called and they wanted their foreign policy back when Mitt Romney said that Russia was our biggest enemy? It's funny how a Hillary Clinton campaign and a Donald Trump presidency can change the entire perception of people's worldview. It's a really interesting thing. But that's just one example. Remember when I told you guys a few videos back that they'll always tell you the truth somewhere in the article, but it's always way down? That was the last paragraph of the article. That was the second to last paragraph of that article. That was the second to last paragraph of the article. That's crazy for them to say all of that stuff. He's doing this. He's using fake addresses. We think it's this. Seems suspicious. But there's actually not any evidence that he really did anything wrong. What do you think that is? That's all my, what do you think that is? I think I know what that is. That's more of that. We're going to condition the public to hate Russia, so that way, if we have to go into a hot war with them, the public is on board. It's just like when 9/11 happened. The American people are generally anti-war. Again, a lot of times that can get conflated with pro-military, whatever, but like anti-war, meaning we don't want to send soldiers to die for no reason overseas. Most people are in favor of that. However, there can be certain things that will shape the public opinion. In my lifetime, one of those things, of course, was 9/11. When 9/11 happened, first of all, the uptick in racism towards Middle Eastern people was crazy. I lived in the Detroit area at the time, and if you know about Detroit, there's a very, very heavy Middle Eastern population here. So, and that's in the suburbs, that's in Dearborn, that's in the city of Detroit, that's everywhere in and around Detroit. There's a lot of Middle Eastern people. So, I saw the change. I saw it happen, like how they in public were treated one way, and then after 9/11, they were treated a different way. Like I saw that. And then, so with that being said, though, when it was announced that we were going to war in Afghanistan, we were going over to Iraq, to fight the terrorists and all of that kind of stuff. It was easy to get the American people to buy in because we had just been attacked by radical terrorists. So it's easy to be like, yo, that's who we're going to go fight. The people who just attacked us and killed 3,000 of your fellow citizens. That's what we're going to go fight. It's easy to get people to buy in. You know what I'm saying? It's like gangbanging. Like if you a Crip and a Blood kills your best friend, it's easy to then turn the Bloods into your enemies. You get what I'm saying? Like, so now you can demonize all of them because it's like, yo, that's how I did this. That's all politics is on an international scale. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, now we can get everybody to buy in that those are the ops. That's the enemy. It's all the Middle Eastern people over there. They're the reason that this happened. So it's easy to get people to buy in. But after a while, after 20 years, people are like, yo, we're done with this. Like, we killed bin Laden, we killed Hussein, we're good. Like, let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's back where the American people are. So now we need another thing to rile them up to get them back wanting, not even wanting to, but just being on board with war. You get what I'm saying? Like, so now it's the Ukraine thing. It's, oh, we have to save the Ukrainians. Everyone put a Ukraine flag up in your profile picture. Oh, these horrible Russians are doing all this evil stuff to Ukraine. We're not going to tell you what led up to that at all, but we're just going to, Russia just all of a sudden decided to invade Ukraine for no reason at all. Had nothing to do with the expansion of NATO. Had nothing to do with Ukraine bombing the Donbass region for the last 8 years. Had nothing to do, you get what I'm saying? Like, it had nothing to do with any of that. It's just because Putin's a radical, crazy dictator and he just wants to take over stuff. Like, that's what the media wants you to think. And so one way that they did that, again, tie him to Donald Trump, who's not a very well-liked guy. And then two, now we have, it's continuing articles like this that we just read. It's more of that. So as long as they keep doing that, and you have impressionable people who will maybe skip over that one sentence that it says there's no evidence that anything that we're suggesting is happening is actually happening, you can get those people to be more on board with, yo, we have to go save the Ukrainians, so we got to fight Russia. You get what I'm saying? That's what this leads to. That's what we call propaganda. That's what this is. And I really like this website, actually, Gizmodo. Like, they have a lot of cool nature stuff, a lot of cool science stuff, a lot of cool tech stuff. Their family of websites underneath. Deadspin has a lot of cool sports stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there was another website that used to be affiliated with them that I used to get a lot of my information from, but they stopped at some point, like maybe a year or two ago. But yeah, like, overall, I'm not hating on the website, but what I am trying to point out is that everybody has kind of bought into this narrative. And even when they say there's no evidence to suggest this, we're still going to try to lean you in the direction of thinking that this is what it is. That's propaganda. So, thank you for coming to my Shane talk. You know what I'm saying? This is Politics as Usual right here on the Ethos Media Network. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you comment, and you hit the little subscription, the little bell for notifications. That way we can stay up to date on all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you go check out the other shows on the network too. And we'll be back next week. This is Shane G, Politics as Usual. Peace.